Today I'd like to tell you about charcoal. Well, to show you what charcoal can do. You can get charcoal in lots of ways. You can get it in sticks, really thin ones. You can get medium sticks. And you can get chunky sticks. You can also get it as a lead type. It's really fun and diverse, and I'm going to show you what I mean. So with me today, I've got my charcoals, and I've also got a cheap eraser, a kneadable eraser. This is a very old one for me. It's about 4 kneadable erasers stuck into one. Saved having to hunt them down. I can always find this big lump. This eraser was actually a white colour to begin with, and over the years it's gone grey. So this is my giant kneadable eraser. Kneadable erasers are great when working with things like charcoal if you want to get refined detail, because you can squeeze them, shape them, and get points, flat bits. You can really do a lot with an erasable, so a kneadable eraser. They are great for doing textured work with charcoal because you can move it around enough and create a lot of texture, but I'll try and show you some of that today. And also, this is my Tombow Mono eraser. It's a very thin silicone eraser. Not always the best, but it does the job. So, paper stocks I'm using is a cardstock, just cheap, cheerful. This is just to show you that charcoal is fun. It's messy, yes. If you're using sticks, then you are going to get messy. If you're using one of these ergonomic pencil holders or graphite lead holders, it does save your fingers a little bit, but half the fun in charcoal is the smudging. Charcoal can be used for loose work or detailed work. In fact, you'll be surprised at some of the most detailed portraits are done in charcoal. So here I'm just making a lot of noise. I'm using part of the big stick to put down colour. You can buy charcoal dust, but believe me when I say prepare for a mess. It is extremely fine and extremely messy. Now, depending on what part of the stick I use, so I've used the flat bit, but if I use the edge, you'll see get deeper lines, so I can do that if I want. Now this is quite light charcoal. You get different depths of blacks and greys, so it depends on what you buy, it depends on what you get. So let's try this medium one. So you can see this feels a lot softer, and I've immediately got a darker colour. You can wear gloves when using charcoal, but it kind of takes away the fun. It does feel weird on paper, but it depends on what paper you use, depends on the effect. This papery card stuff has no tooth, so it's got no knobbly bobblers in it, which means that I can't get many layers. So, like I said, it depends on how much detail you want. With this, I just want to show you very roughly what you can do with charcoal. And as you might be able to see, I've actually, where I've been just doing one bit of it, like so, I've worn it down almost to a point, so if I want to get some finer kind of marks, I can now do that, which is really handy. So you can wear it down. And this is a thinner. These ones tend to be really easy to snap. I think this is willow charcoal. Depending on the tree where it's come from will depend on how sturdy and again what tonal layers you can get. So just be aware of that. I am being very gentle. I don't want it to break, but if you are worried, you can just snap it in half and save yourself some trouble later. So there we go, we got not an evenish tone, but you can go seriously even if you want to on this. So what I'm going to do next is get hands on. Now you'll notice the minute I did that, apart from my hands being very dirty, is that the colour's completely changed. So you've got the dark, and then we're going on to light. If you do big swirls, it's going to be a lot lighter. If you work in smaller groups, you'll notice it's a little bit darker because you're not pushing so much of the charcoal dust away. There are going to be little fingerprints all over this. I'm useless when it comes to charcoal. I'm going to admit, I am bad at charcoal, but I enjoy it. So for a relaxing, who gives a fluff activity, charcoal is great. So I'm going to go, let's go that one. Also, if you don't like squeaky sounds, charcoal might not be for you. So I can add a little bit dark. And I can just gently smudge it out again. With certain papers you can actually get much bigger tonal levels, but like I said, this is a flat paper, so I'm not expecting really anything. I'm just getting a nice base down. There we go. And you can see my little fingerprints will turn up as black dots. Okay. Charcoal, if you get it all over your hands, it's just warm soapy water to clear off. This is not eating charcoal, so please don't suck artistic charcoal. If you have a craving for charcoal, medicinal charcoal is available. Please see your doctor though. As with a lot of crazes and stuff, too much excess is not always good for you. So try not to suck your fingers or lick or, you know, or touch your clothes if you're wearing a white t-shirt. Please don't touch your clothes if you're wearing a white t-shirt. It does eventually come out, but because it's powder, if you've got t-shirty material, it will get into every single nook and cranny of the fibre. Trust me on this one. I've lost many a white t-shirt to charcoal. So, for my drawing, I'm going to show you. This is just going to be a made-up creature. So, it's probably the easiest way. So, I'm going to do an eyeball. And probably too big, but charcoal is very forgiving. That's what I think I love about charcoal the most, is that you can make a mistake and you just mistake gone. It's that simple. It doesn't always work if you've got a lot of layers of charcoal. It may hang around a bit longer, but then that can push you to try and make other marks on your paper. So don't look at it as defeat. Try and get creative and see what you can do with it. I'm not pushing too heavily, I'm not pushing too lightly, I'm just relaxing. As I said, charcoal is a very relaxing media. Please look up charcoal portrait artists if you get a chance. There are some stunners. It's something I want to learn how to do, but I never got the time to do it. That's working full time. But when I get home from a 10-hour day and I'm just like, ugh, I don't have the energy to do a high detailed drawing or a big long video, charcoal's something I go to. Even if I don't like do a video, it's just a quick exercise, relax, chillax, and a reset. And a lot of hand washing. If you have oils on your fingers or grease or anything like that, it can seep into your paper. So if this was like posh work, I would have a sheet of glycine paper or what do you call it, greaseproof oven paper, that sort of paper underneath my hand, and that would stop a lot of the marks and stop the hand grease getting onto the paper. So I think that is, give or take, where I want to be. Right, that's my really rough sketch. Now, I'm going to make some changes, big changes. Trying to work out which one to go for. There's so much choice. Right, one of the things that you can do with charcoal is, if you're erasing with charcoal, you've got to be quite gentle, just gently massage it in, and remember that your eraser is going to pick up the charcoal. So if you can, wipe your razor clean on a separate piece of paper and just gently massage the paper. Don't forcefully rub. It won't do your paper any good and it won't do you any good. But with charcoal, tonal values are really easy to get and can be quite exciting. So I reckon, where's Tommy? I'll bring in this one. Pick up a bit more. When you get these little bits of dirt and stuff, if you've got a paintbrush, which, oh, there she is, use a paintbrush just to pick it up and remove it. As you saw then, just by brushing with a paintbrush, I was actually able to remove some of the charcoal. It's not ideal though. With some mediums you can use paintbrushes to pick up little bits like that. So anyway, back to this drawing. Let's get this going. So if you wanted to do a drawing in charcoal and you've got a photo reference, I would actually say convert it into black and white and then look at your tonal levels. So do one as a warm photo, like yellows, golds, those sort of colours, and then do one as a cold photo, so blues, purples, and have a look at it, and you will see the difference in where your darks are, where your lights are, but you will see midgrounds, and by using that you can actually block in exactly what you want and where you want it. And with charcoal you can just literally like do blocks, so here you go. Block here, blocks there. Can you see how the structure's changing? Charcoal's also really good for texturing. So you know I said it earlier about using a razor texture. Let's show you how we can do that. So I've made my kneadable razor flat. I'm just doing that, folding it over, creating a new flat edge, and up again. Doesn't have to make the whole line, just has to make little points. If I wanted to refine that eye, if I can, make it into a little circle. There we go. And you can use these kneadable razors all the way along. Now, like a normal razor, it's going to get dirty. That's fine, because you can create new tones doing that. See, I'm just smudging it, but I'm picking it up and smudging it, so creating a brand new colour or shade. Now to create some texture, I'm just going to scuff up, if you like. So just making little dashes, dots, twists, all over the kneadable razor. And then put it down and down. Even rolling your kneadable razor, it's all lumpy bumpy. See, texture. Quick and easy way. And if you're scared that you've gone too far, you can always smudge back. I'm literally just picking out little bits I want to focus on. I'm hoping this drawing is coming a bit more to life. Again, just using the edge. Fold it over, squish it back into the shape and the size I want. Squeezing these kneadable razors is quite therapeutic as well, in all honesty. So I can brighten those bits up. This bit's been stubborn. There we go. define a little bit of the muscle here. A bit of definition there. Doesn't have to be perfect. Don't worry about the unless you're doing a fine drawing, fine art, don't worry about the detail. Just literally say, there's a circle there of bright light, so I don't need it, erase it. There's a block there of dark, stick in a block. And then as you chuck down your blocks, your lights, you pull it off, you put it back on, you will see how the form changes to how you want it to be. So in this case, I'm going to bring in this one, and this is the charcoal lead. That's going to be fun, because I kind of this is a bit darker. And this is what I tend to do my detail with. I've fallen in love with this stuff. Just going to move some of the dust. It does get quite dusty, so I would definitely recommend a well ventilated area. And with this pencil lead stuff, I can add in deeper tones, so I can make my darks really, really dark. Just by blocking in bits. Depending on how sharp I make the end, depends on how much detail we got. So in this case, and again, I'm just pressing really gently. I hope this is looking okay. I can't judge from this angle. I should really have taped this paper down. If you've got you can get A3 to A2 drawing clipboards. Sometimes places like the Works sell them, art shops and such, Hobbycraft, if you're willing to pay those prices. And those can be really handy because you can take the clipboard, you can clip it on or use masking tape. I don't like masking tape on this table because it's an IKEA cheapsy table. And it does not handle tape very well. And I don't want to have to repaint the whole table or laminate it or anything like that. I've got too much stuff on it right now. It's definitely this sort of medium that you do want to kind of clamp so that you've got a bit more control. Right. Some detail. I do love being able to do fur with the charcoal. You can get some really pretty effects. Charcoal is a non-sticking medium, So if you want a charcoal drawing to stay, I can't think of what the word is right now, basically if you don't want your charcoal to fade, go away, blur, you need to fix it onto the paper. So you will need a fixative of some sort. There are special charcoal fixatives. You have to do it in a really well ventilated place. Take it outside if you can. And basically you spray a very light coat, and I emphasize a very light coat, onto your image, because it comes out really splatty, and those splats can stain the paper, so that's something to just be aware of. So if you were buying a charcoal drawing, I wouldn't buy the original, I would buy a copy. So that way you know your copy's probably going to be on archival paper, it's going to be better that way, and also with charcoal it fades quite quickly. So again, save yourself the heartbreak, don't buy the original, buy a print. Sometimes you can literally just, it can be a bit messy and noisy. So here we are. Now I'm going to make a fur on it. So I'm going to try, see how if I can do it with this one. It's kind of there, but say you've done your drawing and you're really not happy with certain elements. Fixed. It's that simple. Tonal layer in here if I can. Like I say, with toothed papers you can get a lot more detail, you can get a lot more tonal layers. You can really push the depth. And then just weave. And I could play with this for hours, just back, forward, never actually completing the drawing, if you like. Just having fun. Funny thing is, you do get to a point, will eventually get to a point where you're like, nah, I can't do it anymore, I'm going to completely ruin everything, and you get completely covered in muck. So I'm just going to add in this last bit of texture. I'm going to see if I can do this with the Tombow. There we go. So with the Tombow, I end up cleaning it off quite a lot more because it's only a small bit of silicone. And there we go, I think that's pretty much complete. Just soften that piece there out. Simple as that. So that is how easy and fun charcoal can be. As I say, it's depending on what you want to do, depends on how complex the drawing ends up. If you just want to play and mess around, go for it. So it's a lovely, messy, muck around medium. You don't have to think about it. Just literally let the medium guide you. So, hope that's inspired you to try something different like charcoal. When you start off, it's You can buy more expensive papers, like watercolour papers and things like that, to experiment with. But when starting out, don't go mad, because you're either going to love this medium or you're going to hate it. And you don't want to waste a lot of money on something that you're not going to use, not going to enjoy, and it's not going to bring you joy. So just be aware of that. Don't go straight in at the deep end for the most expensive stuff that you can get. It doesn't always work that way. And like I say, I buy cheap charcoal. I don't really care what type it is, as long as I can have fun and relax and enjoy and make something cute like this. What? I think it's cute. Look, it's smiling, it's happy, it's cute. I don't know. So yeah, but feel free to drop a comment in the comments below and say if you've used charcoal. I'd love to know if you guys have used charcoal before. How do you find it? Would you use it again, or have you never tried charcoal before? I'd love to hear from everyone. So on that note, hope everybody has a lovely time, and all the best, and happy drawing to you all.